Good evening, I'm Adrienne Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, the first dates and details about the first shots.
Tuesday, it is vaccination day, and we will start vaccinating people.
But as the planning proceeds, the second wave surges.
Tonight, an Ontario family mourns their 27-year-old son. Calls for help in a Manitoba First Nation. And we go inside a Saskatchewan care home where the vaccine means hope.
I am beyond excited.
Also tonight, our big spend investigation continues.
They told us that we're going to be laid off because of this pandemic.
The company's taking in millions in federal pandemic aid while posting major profits.
And isn't all news local?
Do the custodians live at Cranston School? An investigation to follow.
The Winnipeg kid keeping her neighborhood informed. This is The National.
One by one, details of how Canada's COVID-19 vaccine rollout will happen are trickling out. We got numbers today and dates.
It's all feeding the hope that's been so long coming that the end of this pandemic is in sight.
The first 30,000 doses are expected to arrive on Canadian soil in just a few days.
So he's talking about the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine approved by Health Canada just yesterday. Those doses expected to leave Belgium tomorrow. And from Ontario, we now have the first date for those first shots. Tuesday is vaccine day in the province. And it only takes a glance at the numbers to see just how badly that vaccine is needed. Ontario reported the most new cases in the country today and hit another single-day high. The province reporting 1,983 new COVID cases. 35 more people have also died. Magda Gabrisalasa with where new modeling shows those numbers going next and new details on the vaccine rollout.
Just as daily COVID cases hit an all-time high in Ontario, word that help is on the way.
Tuesday, it is vaccination day.
6,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine are being delivered to Toronto and Ottawa. As expected, there's a priority list for the first shots.
Those priorities are those in the most vulnerable circumstances and our healthcare workers. Given that we only have a few doses so far.
This while the latest provincial modeling today delivered a dose of caution. 4 different scenarios for Ontario a month from now, from under 2,000 cases a day to 10,000. The best case scenario is the province stays where it is right now.
We're in a very precarious stage here, and we have to really watch this carefully.
Today, Ontario hit a record high of new daily cases and a record for hospitalizations in the second wave. It comes nearly 3 weeks into current measures, including lockdowns in Toronto and Peel region.
People are not staying home. They're more mobile, more active, going out and around.
This Toronto doctor says the government needs to make it easier for people to make the right decisions and to reconsider regional lockdowns.
The lockdown we have right now is completely different from the lockdown we had in Wave 1. And right now in Toronto, I can cross Steeles Avenue and go shopping or get a haircut or go to the gym. That doesn't make any sense.
This other expert says the focus should go beyond businesses to people.
Really, provincial strategy moving forward has to focus on not only just closing and opening certain establishments, but targeting populations which consistently are being exposed to COVID-19.
It seems the plan is to at least do that when it comes to the vaccine.
And Magda, on the vaccine, what other details did we get today about the rollout in Ontario?
Well, Ontario is expecting another 90,000 doses by the end of the month, and that will be distributed among 13 vaccination sites. So healthcare professionals will eventually have to go to one of those sites to get the shot. And the reason for that is the Pfizer vaccine needs to be stored in very cold conditions. Of course, there's also the Moderna vaccine, and Health Canada could approve that one by the end of the year. And when that happens, if and when that happens, officials here are hoping to get that vaccine right into long-term care homes to be given to residents because, Adrienne, as we all know, that's an area that continues to be hit hard by this virus.
All right, Magda, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Now, every day, this virus steals lives and leaves people grieving. We're reminded of that constantly. And we've learned something about what was a very poignant moment that we showed you last night from the CEO of the Windsor Essex Health Unit.
This announcement of this death is difficult. I have a daughter that's the exact same age.
Tonight, we know a lot more about the man she's speaking of. His name is Wang James, 27 years old. Here's Jacob Barker with how the people who loved him are remembering him.
Wang will fire up to 3, and that is good.
Wang James loved playing basketball. In 2013, his high school team won the provincial title. One of his teammates, Mike Mulder, is a current Golden State Warrior.
I feel like we're all feeling it. Everybody's feeling the loss, and it's just been a sad time overall.
He remembers James not just for the player he was, but for the role he played.
He uplifted the entire group.
He was always there for everybody.
One of 7 children, James was a family leader too.
He was very generous. If we ever needed anything or someone to talk to, he would always be there. He was like our second dad, basically.
His sister says James was always helping out, even just days before his death when he dropped off food at the family home. Inside, she was quarantining after a positive COVID test. He was staying with a friend.
We didn't let him come in because we didn't want him to get sick, not knowing that he himself was sick and suffering.
It's not clear how James got sick. On December 4th, he was brought to Windsor Regional Hospital. He had no underlying conditions, but had to be put into a coma after his heart stopped. He died on December 7th, only 27 years old.
That was really hard because we didn't want him to pass, not like seeing him and being there with him, like him being alone was really tough.
Both of James's parents lost their jobs during the pandemic. His father on the day that he died. Now they're reaching out to the community in the hopes of raising enough to cover the burial costs. Jacob Barker, CBC News, Windsor.
Moving to Alberta now, where health officials say 3,900 doses of the vaccine will be ready for next week. They haven't announced what day those first shots will happen, but they did say where.
The very first amount of doses will be allocated to Edmonton and Calgary because that is where we have the greatest number of active cases.
To those, Alberta added another 1,566 new cases today. The province also set a new record, 124 COVID-19 patients in intensive care. ICU doctors and nurses will be among the first to get the vaccine. Manitoba's COVID-19 situation depends on where you live. Overall, the province reported 293 new cases today, but the first time below 300 in weeks. But in the northern First Nation of Shamattawa, things are spiraling out of control. The chief says there have been more than 300 cases in a community of 1,000. And tonight, Cameron McIntosh has an update on the call for help.
Shamattawa asked for the military. It looks like it's going to get it. A reconnaissance team spent the day here talking to medical staff, assessing the needs of a community with a test positivity rate near 70%.
So basically, they're going to be requesting 60 to 70 more bodies in the community from the Canadian Armed Forces.
Chief Eric Redhead says the idea is to send in medics and support staff to help run the community.
That currently is going up the chain of command for approval.
The Defense Minister's office declined comment, but the government is on record saying it's looking to help.
I am really concerned, as you are, about Shamattawa.
As the virus rips through overcrowded homes, isolation is proving futile. The chief says nearly 1/3 of the community has had the virus. There's a lockdown and services are failing.
I hope they get this thing under control.
Rusty Redhead's aunt is in intensive care.
Yeah, my cousins, my aunties, they have a hard time sleeping too, just thinking about her.
Shamattawa is 750 kilometers northeast of Winnipeg. It's fly-in this time of year. With few resources to draw on, the military would likely have to set up a winter camp.
It's a logistical nightmare, but nonetheless, we're very grateful to have their assistance.
Meanwhile, the community's oldest and most vulnerable are slowly being brought to Winnipeg to isolate, ensuring their safety another logistical challenge as Shamattawa grapples with the virus. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And COVID-19 figures jumped in BC today, the deadliest day for that province yet. Today's report, 723, that's 100 more than yesterday, along with 28 deaths. All but 2 of the people who died today were long-term care residents.
Similarly, in Saskatchewan, health authorities are grappling with rising numbers fueled by outbreaks in long-term care homes. 324 new cases were announced today across the province. There are outbreaks in 30 long-term care facilities. The worst, Parkside Extendicare in Regina. 149 residents and 57 staff have tested positive, and today a 12th resident died. Now, long-term care residents and workers will be among the first getting the vaccine in Saskatchewan, and as Bonnie Allen tells us, many of them are counting down the days.
Inside this long-term care home, 74-year-old Ross McKay is eager to be among the first to get the shot and reclaim his freedom.
Well, I might be able to go outside or go away from here. I've been married for 53 years and I haven't had coffee with my wife since last March.
With the vaccine, he might reunite with his wife Carol early in the new year.
I would give her a hug and then I would go for coffee.
Long-term care home nurses are also near the front of the line.
I am beyond excited to know that it's coming, and it's coming so soon.
Saskatchewan will begin with a pilot project next week here at Regina General Hospital. 1,900 healthcare workers who test or treat COVID-19 patients will get the vaccine. That likely includes cardiologist Andrea Lavoie.
I am very anxious in terms of wanting to get it so that I can do more for patients with COVID-19.
If her name is on the list, she's ready.
We always worry about bringing things back to our families. So this certainly will put our minds at ease that we can care for patients and not increase our risk.
Phase 1, that could begin at the end of the month, will immunize 101,000 people in the province, including everyone over the age of 70. First responders are not mentioned in the plan, and that's okay with Regina's police chief.
I'm pretty proud of the work that we've done to be able to keep our staff safe. And so you're not going to see us pushing necessarily to the front of the line.
Back at Sherbrooke Community Centre, they're counting on the vaccine to change one simple thing.
It's the hardest thing to say, I can hold your hand, but I can't give you a hug. It's the hardest thing to say that to an elder, and I'll probably cry now.
And after the vaccine,
lots and lots and lots of hugging.
Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Regina.
As we all await the vaccine, CBC News is also looking back and breaking down some of the record spending we've seen during the pandemic. A CBC News investigation, The Big Spend, has tracked down some $240 billion, which has flowed out of Ottawa and into more than 100 different measures and programs since mid-March. So tonight, we take a closer look at the federal wage subsidy, $50 billion paid out from Ottawa to help businesses keep workers on the payroll. Some are now questioning who is getting that money as billion-dollar corporations thrive while their employees get laid off. Simon Nakaneshny has the details.
Annette Reyes was cleaning offices above Toronto's Eaton Centre when the pandemic hit. Her boss, a billion-dollar company called GDI, said it couldn't afford to keep her.
They told us that we're going to be laid off because of this pandemic.
Reyes and her partner Grace, also a cleaner at GDI, had to go on CERB to make ends meet and to keep sending money back to their adopted daughter in the Philippines. If it's been a tough year for Reyes, it's been a very good year for GDI. While some of its divisions like mechanical services suffered major revenue loss, other parts of the corporation thrived, especially those that did disinfection and sold personal protective equipment. Overall, the firm had a record quarter from July to September, making $31 million in net profit so far this year, helped by almost $30 million in federal wage subsidies, which it qualified for through its money-losing subsidiaries. A CBC News investigation found multiple firms such as trucking giant TFI and furniture superstore Leon's got millions in wage subsidies, then went on to post big profits. Some bought back shares, paid down debt, or paid millions of dollars in dividends to shareholders. Economics professor Michael Smart says the program in general isn't well targeted.
It's important to understand that these payments are not going to individual workers, they're going to the companies. And we don't believe that they're saving a large number of jobs.
In a statement, GDI says the wage subsidy helped its mechanical services businesses retain their whole staff infrastructures and rehire almost all of their services technician employees. It also says all of its units operated in strict compliance under the guidelines of the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy Program. Reyes was eventually hired back in late September, but many of her co-workers haven't been so lucky.
We just feel left behind and we feel invisible.
Simon Akineshny, CBC News, Montreal.
In our Big Spend project, we've uncovered a lot of huge numbers and captured them all in a special interactive feature. It breaks down which programs got how much of that $240 billion in spending. You can see it all at cbcnews.ca/theBigSpend.
Now, if it were up to Canada's premiers, Ottawa would keep spending. In today's meeting with the Prime Minister, they pushed for tens of billions in additional healthcare funding. But as David Cochrane tells us, they didn't get the answer they wanted.
While the pandemic changed the meeting to virtual, the demands remained very real.
An additional $28 billion a year starting next year.
The premiers demanding more money for health care from Ottawa. The Prime Minister reminding them just how much Ottawa has spent.
Our government has already sent provinces and territories PPE, rapid tests, and provided help on contact tracing and emergency response measures.
The meeting lasted all day. The premiers didn't get what they wanted.
We were very disappointed of the answer of Mr. Trudeau, who refused to discuss that right now.
We're disappointed with the progress that was made at this meeting.
Trudeau didn't say no. He said not right now.
It's going to be important that the federal government, as I said, steps up and increases its share of the costs of health care with the Canada Health Transfers. We are going to do that.
In essence, a healthcare IOU, and not every premier was disappointed.
I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess is probably the best way to put that. There's still a lot of work to do, but the acknowledgement was a positive one.
But there's still no promise on when transfers will increase or by how much, with Trudeau arguing the pandemic makes long-term permanent commitments impossible.
Right now, there is a lack of certainty of what our economic situation or even our health situation might look like in 3 months, let alone in 3 years.
So a long-term solution still a long way off, though Trudeau promised to keep bankrolling the emergency demands of the pandemic, including picking up the tab for all COVID vaccines and the supplies needed to administer them. David Cochrane, CBC News, Ottawa.
And we will have more reaction to the First Minister's meeting. Rosie and the At Issue panel will look at how talk of a spring federal election could be behind some of the political messaging we saw today. That's in about 10 minutes. A significant step for legislation that would expand access to medically assisted dying. It passed its final vote in the House tonight.
I'm asking senators to really put their shoulders to the wheel in good faith, and let's try to get this across the finish line.
Conservatives tried to filibuster the contentious bill. It removes the requirement that people face a reasonably foreseeable natural death in order to qualify for a medically assisted death. The Senate now has just 1 week to pass the bill before the holiday break.
Today marks 2 years since Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor were detained by China. We've heard from the Kovrig family since then, but not from the Spavors. Now they've issued their first public statement, a brief note of thanks. Michael's resilience and strength through this time have made us all the more proud of him. We are grateful for the continued efforts of the Canadian government to secure the release of our Michael and Michael Kovrig. But 2 years out, the calls grow for Canada to take a stronger stance. As Evan Dyer tells us, the debate on how to proceed rages as the two men hang in the balance.
It is taking a toll. This has been an incredibly challenging 2 years for him and for all of us out here who are fighting for his freedom.
For 2 years, Bina Najibullah has campaigned tirelessly, not only for her own husband, but also for Michael Spavor. And yet, freedom seems no closer.
And we will continue to do whatever we feel gives the best chance of bringing them home.
We would have looked to work with the United States and other countries on a Magnitsky sanction approach.
Magnitsky sanctions target individuals. Today, a European human rights group delivered a legal brief to Global Affairs Canada that argues for just that approach and names 2 Chinese officials as potential targets. Peter Dahlin heads Safeguard Defenders. He's a Swede who was himself detained in China in 2016.
I only spent a little bit less than a month inside a suicide-padded cell in southern Beijing in a facility that is probably the same facility where Michael Kovrig was kept for his first 166 days of disappearance.
As a former prisoner himself, Dahlin is sensitive to arguments that a tougher approach could end up hurting the detainees, but he doesn't believe it will.
More diplomatic pressure improves the treatment inside in every single known case. So the idea that quiet diplomacy would ensure better treatment inside for the 2 Michaels is simply not true.
Deploying Magnitsky sanctions, however attractive it may be, to strike back. If you're targeting the very people involved in the detention, to expect those same people who are going to be in power to then cooperate is maybe a wishful thinking.
But there's no sign of any end to their ordeal. And today, Chinese officials said that even the release of Meng Wanzhou in Canada would do nothing to affect their situation. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
Around the world, the logistics of the COVID-19 vaccine rollout are enormously complicated.
So next, a glimpse at that critical supply chain and the people who make it work.
Did you ever think you'd be making dry ice for a vaccine that could save the world?
Susan Ormiston looks at the challenges ahead.
The P.E.I. business owner who jumped in to help.
You know, we thought, well, does the province have this kind of equipment? And if not, would they like to borrow ours?
And At Issue is here to talk about the vaccine rollout and how it's playing politically. We're back in 2. Welcome back. The United States took a major step tonight towards approving a COVID-19 vaccine. A government advisory panel voted to endorse the emergency use of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, paving the way for Americans to begin getting shots as early as next week. But once approved, the monumental task of delivering the vaccine still remains. Susan Ormiston shows us how small players are helping perfect the so-called cold chain of delivery on both sides of the border.
Dry ice is suddenly hot, one critical element in distributing the first vaccines, which have to be moved and stored hyper-cold.
So, Reggie, how is this part of the pandemic?
We understand that the Pfizer vaccine needs to be at 94 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Dry ice is 109 degrees below zero.
So who will be your customers for this?
Mainly pharmacies, shippers like couriers, and the hospitals.
The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine will come to Canadians from Belgium and to Americans from U.S. plants. It ships frozen in vials of 5 doses each. Special thermal shippers will carry it on planes. Once delivered, Canada has purchased 26 ultra-low temperature freezers, but where that isn't in place, dry ice can supplement.
At this point, many of them aren't sure exactly on the details of what they're doing. They just know they're going to need dry ice at some point.
When liquid carbon dioxide is tightly compressed, it turns the gas into solids. Not new, the polio vaccine back in the 60s was delivered in dry ice boxes.
So much of this cold chain is time sensitive. This dry ice can keep that vaccine at cold enough levels, but it does evaporate. So on a regular basis, it will have to be replaced.
Once a vial is defrosted, ready for injection, it has only a 6-hour life.
So it's not like you can then store the vial again and use it the next day. It is a challenge. I mean, the world essentially has never undertaken something like this on this scale.
Within days, remarkably, these vaccines will be on the move.
Did you ever think you'd be making dry ice for a vaccine that could save the world?
Never thought of it. It's just an amazing thing that has changed, and we're glad that we can help.
Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
Well, storing the new vaccine just got a whole lot easier on Prince Edward Island thanks to the kindness of a local business owner. This is bluefin tuna, and this is the Pfizer vaccine. Not much in common, except, of course, both need to be stored in super cold freezers.
We thought, well, does the province have this kind of equipment? And if not, would they like to borrow ours? And the equipment that we have is actually laboratory grade super freezers. So it fit the bill perfectly, and they asked if they could use them. And I said, of course, most certainly.
So with a whole lot of shrink wrap, 2 precious freezers were packed up and shipped off to Charlottetown on loan for free.
I just say it warms your heart, particularly with Christmas just around the corner, knowing that somebody out there would be so kind, so grateful, and just so helpful.
Call it a province-sized pandemic Christmas present.
And still ahead on the National, CBC News investigates why a contractor embroiled in a legal fight in Alberta made a court appearance today in California.
First, though, Rosie is here with that issue.
Adrian, we're going to talk more tonight about the fallout from today's First Minister's meeting, from Ottawa's message to the Premier's, what their competing priorities could mean for the path forward. Chantal, Andrew, and Althea will join all of us after the break.
It's going to be important that the federal government, as I said, steps up and increases its share of the cost of healthcare with the Canada Health transfers. We are going to do that, and I look forward to conversations over the coming months about how we can increase it. Of course, our focus remains right now getting through this pandemic, and as I said multiple times to the premiers, we will be there to support them with extra healthcare costs linked to this pandemic, whatever it takes, for as long as this pandemic lasts.
Reaction from the Prime Minister after today's First Minister's meeting. The provinces were looking for an increase in health transfers. Ottawa says its focus remains squarely on the pandemic. So what to make of these seemingly competing priorities? It's Thursday. I'm here with At Issue, Chantal Hébert, Andrew Coyne, and Althea Raj. All right, Andrew, I'll start with you this week. The Prime Minister, he does seem to acknowledge there's a need to increase the health transfers, but didn't seem to be committing to any kind of timeline. What did you make of it?
Yeah, that he didn't want to mix the two together. He's prepared to give them lots of money now for the pandemic. At some point in the future, he may give them more money for the longer run problem of rising healthcare costs far beyond the pandemic. This has to do with the aging of the population. It's been going on for years. It will go on for decades. So the provinces have a long run problem. But because they have the problem, because they're the demandeurs, the feds have the money. They're in the driver's seat. They can, they need the provinces for some things, but the provinces need them more. So he will act on his own timetable. Remember also, the money isn't for healthcare. We all say it that it's just money. There's no dollar tag. There's no labels attached to it that say you can only spend it on healthcare. The provinces need more money. The feds have money. At some point, they're going to negotiate some process for transferring it. My hope, probably to be dashed, is that in the long run, what we'll do is transfer tax revenues, tax points, rather than this endless game of cash transfers, which just blurs accountability and leads to endless finger pointing.
Yes, you're right. It's just money, but it does sound like it's money that the federal government wants to see, according to the Prime Minister, more accountability for, hinting that there need to be conditions around wherever that money goes, Chantal.
And that's a we'll see issue, in the sense that I think what most premiers came away with was they're not going to be getting that increase in the next federal budget. And a lot of them, starting with Premier Legault, assume that there will be a federal election before the next budget in 2022. Now, if you were Justin Trudeau, would you not prefer to campaign on having more money for long-term care and the federal government looking at national guidelines to ensure that the disaster that unfolded last spring does not again? Or would you want to campaign on saying, I just gave an increase of 1% or 2% in the rate of increase of a health transfer? Your eyes have glazed over? That's what voters will have done. So there is a political game here. Premier Legault says he will now be, on behalf of his colleagues, trying to get the opposition parties to put pressure on Justin Trudeau. That may or may not happen. He may set in place the conditions for the government to go down on the next budget. Whether that will result in a government that is more amenable, question mark.
But there were other premiers. I realize that the Premier of Quebec is the head of the council right now of Federation, but there were other premiers who were not quite as dismissive of the Prime Minister. Stephen McNeil, I mean, perhaps not surprisingly, he's of the same ilk of the Prime Minister, but John Horgan as well did not seem quite as defeated as Premier Legault or Premier Ford, for instance, Althea.
Or Scott Moe, who nobody would be accusing is a Liberal. I actually thought there was a lot more came out of this meeting than I had expected. I think the Liberals had really, the federal Liberals here had really downplayed expectation. The fact that the Prime Minister came out and acknowledged that Ottawa needs to do more is substantial, and it's something that Stephen McNeil and Scott Moe both latched on, and both really seemed to believe, at least they were communicating that they believed the Prime Minister and that they believe that he wants to be a long-term partner. He believes the federal government should take a bigger slice of that pie to be paid for by federal coffers. And Premier Legault's rehash of the meeting today did not seem to reflect the press conferences that other premiers had in the day, and that he led off saying he was deeply disappointed, that the premiers were deeply disappointed, that the Prime Minister had been dismissive of the remarks. The Prime Minister in his remarks actually said that if the premiers had been willing to make a deal on long-term care and pharmacare, he seemed to be willing to have made a deal. But I completely agree with Chantal. I think election politics is playing into this. I think the federal Liberals don't want to be pegged to a timeline that might interfere with a promise that would be in a Liberal platform. And Mr. Legault also is playing politics and trying to convince, in this case, the federal Tories to promise an increase in federal transfers in their next election platform.
The other part of that conversation today, what we're led to understand, that the vast majority of the morning was spent on vaccines as all the provinces get ready to roll out vaccines next week. I want to do one go round on how the federal government managed these announcements this week. Here's the Prime Minister reacting to that news yesterday.
This is a big deal, Mr. Speaker. It is a good news day for Canadians. We will see 30,000 vaccines begin to arrive next week, with many more on the horizon. But we are not through this yet. We've got a tough winter to get through.
It was interesting. Obviously, I mean, it's a win for the country. It's probably a win for the government too, Andrew. But it was interesting to see the politics of how this unfolded this week and the way the federal government positioned themselves around it.
Yeah, well, it was the Prime Minister himself who was saying not too long ago that we weren't going to see vaccines till sometime between January and March. That remains mostly the truth. We're going to get an early shipment of 250,000, I think it is, vaccines that came out of somewhere. There was a lot of suspicion afoot. This was essentially got up on the fly so they could have something to say to the opposition. Whether that's true or not, we shall see. But the proof is going to be what happens in the months to come. Do the vaccines that we've ordered, do they show up? Are they distributed in a timely fashion? Do they get them into people's arms in some large proportion of the population? And right now, the schedule is, the last I heard was, it's still the same, as we're going to have enough for maybe 3 million Canadians by the end of March. We'll see how that stacks up against other countries. Right,
but Chantal, the whole idea that Canada has no plan or Canada's at the back of the line, I mean, that doesn't seem to be factual at any rate right now.
Well, it was great political management. There was a horse before the cart moment. You have the Prime Minister laying out how many vaccines are going to be distributed across the country before the end of this year, before Health Canada actually approves a vaccine. You would have thought normally that it would be the other way around, but politically, if you want to gauge the success of an operation, you go to question period and you look at how many questions the opposition still wanted to ask after that announcement that there would be a rollout in December. The answer to the question is no questions from any party except the Conservatives, and very few of those.
Yeah. I mean, the questions from the Conservatives swapped from where is the plan as all the first questions to, hey, what about the wage subsidy? Althea, how do you think the government managed that?
It's another example, just like the previous example we've just been talking about, of downplay expectations and over-deliver. I mean, you had the Conservatives in the House of Commons over the past several weeks accusing the Liberals of being incompetent, of mismanaging the issue, of saying that Canadians were going to be vaccinated in 2030, if you were listening to Michelle Rempel. And then lo and behold, Health Canada approves the vaccine before the FDA. So it's in some ways, the Conservatives allow the Liberals to look a lot better than they otherwise would have.
And I wonder what it tells us, though, about the risks of criticizing a plan like this with so many unknowns. Chantal.
So, yes, here was the big risk, and it turned out to be a real risk. If you start criticizing and predicting the future on an operation like the vaccine deployment, you are taking a risk, in this case, that kind of backfired. The fact is that if the Liberals mess up the vaccine deployment, if that trickle in December does not turn into a river in January, February, March, judgment will be cast on them regardless of what the opposition has to say, and they will be judged harshly. So there is a point where it's worth just holding your breath and not predicting doomsday scenarios that allow the government to actually look good when it's not, Superman didn't come out of a phone booth this week.
Yeah. Well,
it works in reverse, though, as well, which is if you take a victory lap before you've actually delivered, that can also come back to haunt you.
Okay, we'll leave it there this week. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Before we go, though, make sure you subscribe to our podcast where we've got extra content, including the panel's take on this story.
The House has just voted in favor of moving C7, the medical assistance in dying bill, to the Senate.
Senate's now under some pressure to get that passed, though. You can look for this on any major podcast app, our website, cbcnews.ca/thenational. And one more thing, the At Issue panel wants to hear from you, honest. Send us your political questions about the year that was and what's next for 2021, hopefully a better one. You can email us at thenational@cbc.ca, message us on Instagram, and with that, I'll send it back to Adrian and Andrew in Toronto.
Okay, thanks very much, Rosie. Well, first, their lives were turned upside down by the Fort McMurray wildfire.
Now they say they are stuck in legal limbo.
We can't sell our house, we can't move, we can't do much.
Why they say they were left without recourse.
And meet the next giant of Canadian journalism. We'll introduce you to Hatty Hawthorne. That's coming up.
I can feel the heat here. This is insane.
These are images that are difficult to forget. The race to escape a wildfire as it ripped through Fort McMurray. It was one of the largest evacuations in Alberta's history, and by the time it was over, whole neighborhoods were destroyed. Some looked to an Alberta contractor to rebuild their homes. Instead, they got a legacy of lawsuits. Well, today, that contractor made a short court appearance on criminal charges, but in California, over what happened to fire victims in that state. And as Katie Nicholson explains, this leaves his former Alberta clients frustrated.
That's not up to code.
1 year after they gave us a tour, Bill and Carrie Pendergast are still tied up in legal action with the man they say botched the rebuild of their Fort McMurray home.
We can't sell our house, we can't move, we can't do much other than incur more legal fees.
When I had showed up.
But in February, they got a surprise call from California.
The first thing I done was, checked online to make sure that this guy is legit.
It was a state investigator looking into Canal Nagpal, the Pendergast's former builder. In 2017, fire devastated Santa Rosa, California. Nagpal went south to offer his services.
I have background in finance.
But, like in Fort McMurray, there were soon complaints. And in October, he was charged with misrepresentation and contracting without a license. If found guilty, he could face thousands in fines, even prison time.
I think the DA is treating this case quite seriously.
California has strict rules governing the construction world and stiffer penalties when disaster victims are involved.
No one is interested in leaving folks who have been struck by disaster to be hit by another disaster a human-made disaster.
In an email to CBC News, Nagpal says the charges were based on technical issues and that his intention was always to assist people.
Everything here is soaking wet.
The Pendergasts are happy their former builder has been charged. Swift action in California has them frustrated with Alberta.
Our Consumer Protection Act is negligible. It's so minimal. You know, people don't realize until you need it, then you find out that it's really not there for you.
Alberta's Consumer Protection Office confirms it exchanged compliance information with Nagpal's company, but there is no record of any enforcement. Last year, the province launched 3 new consumer protection initiatives, all too late to help the Pendergasts, who've already spent thousands in their battle for justice. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, Airbnb has never posted an annual profit, but still, its initial public offering was a record setter. Up next, what that says about expectations and inequities in the post-pandemic economy. Short-term rental company Airbnb set a record in its initial public offering today. Its stock more than doubled, despite never having posted an annual profit in its 12-year history. And as Peter Armstrong tells us, it shows us a tale of 2 economic realities and a gulf that the pandemic has widened.
Airbnb didn't ring the opening bell on Wall Street this morning. Instead, it had its hosts ring their doorbells around the world. The company was founded back in 2008 by an unemployed Brian Chesky and 2 roommates.
Are you at all concerned?
Today, before shares started trading, Chesky was on Bloomberg TV and was told the value of his company would likely come in around $90 billion US.
That's the first time I've heard that number.
The price actually went even higher. It soared to more than $100 billion at one point. It's a lot of money for a company that has never turned a profit. Airbnb's legal findings for the IPO said, "We have incurred net losses in each year since inception, and we may not be able to achieve profitability." After years of expansion and years of loss, Airbnb was clobbered when travel was all but shut down during the pandemic. But the company pivoted to focus on local travel once the first wave of restrictions was lifted.
People are doing less long-distance traveling, more short-distance traveling. They are quarantining outside of their families' places.
Analysts say many tech companies have built themselves up without a profit. The real question is whether Airbnb can make money down the road.
If they can survive 2020 and actually show some positive momentum, what can they do in a normal market?
But what is normal now anyway? The economy has been absolutely crushed by COVID. Millions of people lost their jobs. Millions are still struggling. The stock markets are setting records.
And it is important to make that differentiation between the stock market and the economy, because they're not even close right now.
Right now, there are 2 economies and 2 recoveries. Those who could work from home with investments going way up, and laid off workers struggling just to get by, for whom an IPO may as well be taking place on a different planet. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Up next, an up-and-coming journalist with lots to say.
Recipes, crafts, interviews.
Hatty and her self-published newspaper are next. Hatty Hawthorne, even her name has a reporter's ring to it, is 8 years old, and she's been keeping busy these last few months running her own newspaper. So the young journalist writes, reports, publishes, even delivers using her scooter as transportation. This budding reporter is our moment.
I started it because I wanted a camera. People send in messages about what they need, and then I respond to them in my newsletter.
She wrote this newsletter and she delivers it all around the neighborhood.
Do the custodians live at Queenston School? Investigation to follow.
So when we walk down the street with Hattie, people say, "Hi, Hattie," and we say, "Hi, I guess you know my daughter." So it's been a nice bringing together of community.
I tell people about what I do and how I do it. Recipes, crafts, interviews, codes. I want to be a farmer. I want to be an author. I want to be a reporter. I want to be a detective, and I want to be a spy.
And you can be any of those things, absolutely any of those things you want. It's so successful, charges 50 cents a newsletter. She's already made enough to buy the camera. And I love how people do leave her mail in her mailbox asking for advice in her advice column, which is something.
And so, Hatty, to you, you should know that your story got lots of the people on our show talking about their own experiences as kids, their own newsletters, our love for Harriet the Spy and Nancy Drew. And so from us to you, keep at it. That is a national for December the 10th. Good night.
Good night.